real estate roundtable where we're doing over collectively $10 million a year in revenue.
30 to 40% of my monthly revenue comes from follow-up. And that's totally gone right now, right? 12 months ago, so I offered you 150 grand. Today, that same offer is 135.
People mess up on right now is you price it at what buyers will pay, not at what your contract tells you.
A lot of investors are underwriting those at $85,000 to $90,000 because they're taking 10% cuts off the market.
Biggest challenge in the wholesale space right now, people don't have ethics. Wholesale deals are taking too long.
You never want to be the person, ethically as an investor, wholesaler, that is locking up properties just with the intention of dropping them, because then you set yourself up to fail.
And the reason being is the inventory is at an all-time high, and the last all-time high was in 2019. We're actually 31.5% higher than that in 2019.
A guy who I know, and he was saying last year, 40% of their revenue came from retrades.
The biggest learning lesson in this market is like just being firm on your offer. Like I'd rather walk away from a deal, the numbers didn't work for me, than like, get negotiated up and then I end up getting like myself in a situation where it's like I can't sell the deal.
All right, guys, I'm back with another real estate roundtable where we're doing over collectively $10 million a year in revenue. But this time, I'm here with the leveled up community. The owner's right here to my right of me. Chandler saying, really great down to earth dude. We got Devin, we got Nico, JT, Mike.
JC.
JC. I knew it earlier, I was going to say CJ. JC.
You're dyslexic.
But we got JC over here. As you guys can see, we've been shooting all day, having a good time, laughing. And I was like, guys, let's all just sit down, because normally that's what happens. When a bunch of real estate guys get together, you get some bourbon or you get some cigars, just sit down and talk real estate. But I was like, let's bring it to YouTube, because no one is really doing this in the real estate space. So guys, we're just gonna go around and everybody introduce themselves, what markets they're doing, what are they doing for marketing, how many deals they're doing, what were some biggest challenges they had. And we're just gonna go around and we're gonna just kick it off from there. You wanna start, JC?
Yeah, I'll start. Yeah, so like Courtney said, my name is JC. We wholesale here in Florida. Mike is my business partner. We started about 3 years ago. We also do Nevada, Texas, and pretty much anywhere else we can get a deal. So if it's a major metro and we can get a deal there, we're probably in your city.
Yeah, we focus primarily on SMS. Agent outreach is what a lot of our business comes from, but also a lot of inbound ads, Facebook ads, TikTok ads. That's kind of the majority of what our marketing consists of. Right now we're sitting pretty consistently about 5 to 6 deals a month. Looking to ideally, stay around there and kind of increase our average fee and just build our team to kind of do that.
I love that. Chandler?
Yeah, my name's Chandler, and I run a coaching consulting company for wholesalers and flippers, as well as a mastermind. And essentially, we help people with their marketing, their hiring, their operations, and to grow businesses that run without them. So, yeah, a lot of these guys are my clients and friends.
I love that.
I'm Devin, one of Chandler's clients and Courtney's clients. I live in Charleston, South Carolina. Main business is wholesale. I do a lot of flips and new construction as well. Really, both the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, kind of the Southeast, I'd say, is my market, and learned a lot. I do a lot of outbound marketing, cold call, and then Courtney's gotten me onto some inbound marketing through Facebook, YouTube ads, and things along those lines. But just excited to be here with the boys.
Let's go.
Nico Sharma, have top brokerage and top buyers. We are doing between 4 to 10 deals a month on the investment side. Brokerage is in 8 states. Really well versed in novations, and ultimately main inbound marketing. We're using YouTube, we're using TikTok, testing with some Facebook stuff as well too. And in addition to that, just maximizing the exits through novations, not just in the markets that our brokerage is in, but through the relationships we have nationwide in the markets that make sense.
My name is JT. I'm based in Knoxville, Tennessee. We do deals all across the Southeast. We own real estate and rental properties all across the Southeast as well. Our primary markets for flipping and wholesaling is Tennessee, North Carolina, and Indiana. Our biggest lead source right now is JV, so we're helping people who may struggle to get deals under contract, or maybe they don't have that much in sales skills. We're helping them get those deals under contract so everyone can get paid and they're not just wasting their money on marketing. We're also running some Facebook stuff ourselves as well as some PPL, but we really love the JV program because it allows everybody to eat.
Awesome. All right, guys, you heard that here. What I want to ask you, not going to be organized going down the line. We're just going to just blurt the answer out whenever you guys, it comes to you guys' mind. What is the biggest challenge you guys are seeing in the wholesale space right now in the wholesale community? It could be people don't have ethics. It could be, all right, wholesale deals are taking too long, novations, whatever the case may be. What are you guys seeing the biggest challenge for you guys' company?
You have to be able to adjust to, sellers having an expectation of a market from a certain time ago versus buyers that are on the cusp of what's coming in the market. Like, they're the ones that set the trend of market demand, not the sellers. They're lagging. Buyers are the leading because that's the demand. And so the sellers are still stuck on what was, and the buyers are at a different point, which is why you see a lot of inventory sitting. And the stuff that doesn't sit needs to be priced aggressively.
What I was going to say is the predictability. You have to be really versatile right now because the investors and end buyers, they're wanting to purchase at a lower percentage of ARV. So in a normal market, I'd be looking at, say, a $100,000 ARV. I'd 70% of that minus repairs, right? Or maybe even 75% of that. But now those $100,000 ARVs we're getting, a lot of investors are underwriting those at $85,000 to $90,000 because they're taking 10% cuts off the market. So even though my numbers may make sense based on the actual comparables, they're being really conservative in their purchasing power. So I'm struggling to look at deals and understand, hey, they're buying for cheaper. So we're locking up deals a little bit too high right now, which is forcing us to go back into a retrade. Or a lot of people are going upside down in their homes in terms of people who've instead the people who have got appreciation usually over the past 5-10 years. It's not a super steep decrease, but where they bought in 2022, it's going back down to really about where they bought then. So they're upside down in the properties, and they're not really able to work with us anymore.
On top of that, flippers are also adjusting for longer holding costs, right? A flip that they used to underwrite for 4 months, they're probably now underwriting for 6 months, at least they should be. And the reason being is inventory is at an all-time high, and the last all-time high was in 2019. We're actually 31.5% higher than that in 2019. So inventory is at an all-time high, which obviously is driving prices down. And what I feel like you just got to get ahead of the curve. I mean, we're again adjusting ARVs by 10%. I seen it on a deal 2 weeks ago in a market that I've been in for 4 years now, on a street that I've done flips in, where I had a 300K ARV, and my 2 VIP flippers had it at 275, and my fee got cut in half due to that. So pivoting and getting ahead of the curve. And another big thing that I've noticed is I do a lot of outbound, right? Cold call, SMS. So about 30 to 40% of my monthly revenue comes from follow-up, right? From people that have been in our system for over 12 months. And that's totally gone right now, right? Because the guys that we had made an offer to 6 months ago, 12 months ago, say that my offer to you 12 months ago was 150 grand. Today, that same offer is 135. It's down a good bit. So those guys aren't going to sell. If I could get them the same price or maybe a little bit more, that's when they could come back in to be a revenue number. But as of right now, the only people that are selling their houses, as far as I see, are the ones that absolutely have to, right? They have to relocate for a job, foreclose or inheritance, something along those lines. So when you're getting new leads and you're underwriting your leads, make sure they have equity and make sure they have some sort of timeline.
I love that.
How do you shift strategy in order to ensure that you're getting, you said 30% of your deals were coming from follow-up. So how are you shifting your strategy in order to recuperate or regain the lost 30% that you're not being able to close?
I just increased my inbound budget, right? Okay. So instead of, I'm scaling a lot right now. We just went from 5 cold callers to 10 cold callers, just because that's my most trusted revenue source and I have the biggest sample size there. It is my longest cash conversion cycle, but to kind of counter that, I'm just going ahead and going deeper into my inbound sources, right? The shorter cash conversion cycles, and it's a gamble, right? Because it's the most expensive lead, and if they don't hit, then what's going to happen? So you got to do it conservative. You have to understand, the cash that you have coming in the upcoming months and whatnot.
I love that. Chandler, so you work with a lot of wholesalers. You basically pull back the curtains on all their businesses. What are you saying the biggest challenge that they're facing?
Yeah, I'd say right now it's the dispo process to consistently get a lot of offers on properties so they can actually have something to go back with and retrade to sellers with. So I think there's a few, everything that everyone has already mentioned is totally what everyone's experiencing, but I think from a how do you fix it perspective, it's one, you have to have a good pulse on the market of actually what's going on. So you've got to get multiple offers for every property to give yourself a chance to even be able to perform on the deal. So you have something you can go back to the seller with to actually make a deal happen. And so I was talking to a guy who I know, and he was saying that last year, 40% of their revenue came from retrades, which, whether that's a good or a bad thing, that's totally like up to you on that. But the point is, like, the strategy is like go get a lot of offers, figure out where the market's at, and then set good expectations of the sellers and have a retrade process, and it allows you to still put revenue on the board even if there is like, some separation in your numbers.
How do you set an expectation for that?
How do you set an expectation for that?
Yeah.
Well, I think like the biggest thing is like your communication with the seller of like where the market's at. So the first conversation, you basically are setting the frame of like, hey, we're here to do the absolute best that we can for you, and I'm going to get this done for you on your timeline, and try to get you the $300,000 that we agreed on the closing date. And that's the frame you're setting with them. And so you have to back up that and make them, actions speak louder than words. You have to prove to them that you're actually working hard. So every time we go to the property, whether it's, whether you're doing a novation or off market, every time there's feedback, when you get pictures, anytime you get feedback from buyers, anytime someone goes to the property, you relay that information directly to the seller and just tell them like abstractly what happened. Hey, we got pictures of the property. It's in a little bit worse condition than we thought. Like the roof is this is this, ask questions about the property. And then you're just setting the frame of like, hey, this is like not what we knew initially, but don't change the price. It's like, hey, still gonna do everything we can to get you $300,000 we agreed on said date, but just letting you know these are a little bit, these repairs are outside the scope that we originally had. Based on what you said. They might be upset, they might not, they might understand, whatever the case is. Doesn't matter what they say. Just you have to do that process, and then you move to the next piece, which is going to be getting people out of the property. But you have to price, what I think people mess up on right now, is you price it at what buyers will pay, not at what your contract tells you. So if your contract's $300, but buyers only gonna pay $300, but you're like, well, how do I make money? Well, price it at $300 where buyers will come in and give you offers. Then you have something to work with, and you can use that demand to negotiate the buyers to a higher price or to better terms, and you can take that to the seller and give them the feedback of what happened. So say, hey, we sent out our team, contractors, whatever you call your people, retail investors, however you're relaying that information, you just tell them every time. And then after a few times, and you tell them like, hey, like we either are gonna have to be at a lower number, or they came back and said, hey, because of this, the repairs are this much higher, which would mean that we would have to be this much lower. You can kind of gauge what's actually happening. And then the sellers, some people will be like, well, I don't need to sell, like whatever, and you can go into a wholesale conversation, which is a whole other piece, but that's the frame of the conversation, how you get there. And then that's like, if someone has to sell, like they're gonna say yes.
They bring up like the future pacing the whole time too. Like you kind of do like a bunch of like soft reductions every showing you have, but at the end of that conversation, you're reminding them that, hey, I'm still able to get you to Knoxville on time to start your new job. Hey, I'm still able to, get this tenant out, evict them for you, and do it. Like whatever their motivation is, just get that future pacing and make sure that they know that at the end of the day, their problem is still going to be solved.
Yeah, exactly.
Constantly reminding of them of that pain.
Yes. Okay.
And the service you're doing too.
Yeah.
What are you guys seeing right now? Your biggest
I
challenge?
would say, honestly, probably, the same thing probably everybody else is. The thing is like now, especially in this market, I feel like we have to be so much tighter on our numbers, and not even like when we think it's a deal, we have to get it even lower than that, right? Like the hardest thing is like when I lock something up and then, somebody, he goes to dispo it, right? And it's like you said, you have to have those offers to even know where to retrade. Because if you don't have anything on the table, it's like I'm kind of just guessing on what I need to get the seller at to then drop my price, then to see if more investors are interested, right? So like for us, like the biggest learning lesson in this market is like just being firm on your offer. Like I'd rather walk away from a deal that, I lose the deal and hey, it is what it is, the numbers didn't work for me, then like, get negotiated up and I think it could work, and then I end up getting like myself in a situation where it's like I can't sell the deal, and it's like, it would have worked 20K ago if I would have just stayed at my number, right? I would have rather just not entered into that deal and waste my time, my team's time.
Okay, I have a question, because I think it's something that everyone deals with. How do you balance getting the contract because you know that person's going to sell and working the retrade versus just getting the deal at the lower price and just like inking it at the lower price? Because I feel like it's a very fine line to balance. But how do you balance that line?
I would say, what do you mean exactly by
like let's say I'm a seller, or we're talking, or you're the seller.
Yeah.
I offer you 200K. I know that I need it 200K in order to make my fee and to perform whatever. Maybe that's sell it for 220. It doesn't matter. But I have to have it 200K.
Right.
You want 220.
Yeah.
And I know that based on your situation, based on everything you told me, I have, and I know there's other people involved, you know, I've figured all that out.
Yeah.
I know that you're going to sign with someone else who offered you 220, but you, the seller, want to work with me because you like me more or whatever. If I give you the 220, like, how do you balance between like staying firm on 200 versus coming up to 200 and then, or 220 versus just like, and then you know you're going to be lower, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and I mean, it's tough. Like, I feel like every lead is a different scenario to where it's like, it's not like a one answer fits all, really.
100%.
But I guess for us, it's just like, I mean, ideally we want to help the seller out, but you also can't get caught up in like, whatever the seller or the realtor or whatever, you know, whatever they're asking is what they're asking. Like, we know that we have to stick to our numbers if we want to get to the closing table. Because also I also don't want to be the guy that just gives them what they ask to get it under contract, and then knowing I'm going to have to drop the contract. Right?
Or go back for
Or
price
even
reduction.
have to, even have to retrade. I mean, I don't like to necessarily like lock stuff up knowing that I'm going to have to retrade. If I lock something up and then I start to maybe get more, you know, more facts about the property, like, this and this broke down, or we didn't know that, or then we get photos. That's a little bit of a different story.
Is that because ethically you feel like it's wrong?
I feel like just for me, I would rather not lock it up, knowing like in the back of my mind, like I'm going to just price drop.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And it's still going to happen. Like there's going to be transactions where that just happens, especially with novations, because the market is you know, the market, right? It's ultimately what the market wants to pay for it. But it's like, to your point, how do you minimize that to, you know, ethically move forward and, you know, get sellers more without just like baiting them just to switch it out later. Right? And like even with the transaction,
There's a lot of people that do that.
Well, yeah.
And they put memos on them.
That's the worst kind of person.
But and there's two like ethical places to negotiate a transaction for, you know, renegotiate. It's like after you get photos, to y'all's point, if the condition doesn't line up, and then if you set the right front end expectations with these sellers for access, timeline, and the expectations of marketing and what that entails, then, I mean, you have, you know, a shot during due diligence too, right? From what the feedback is from these third parties. But you never want to be the person, you know, ethically as an investor, wholesaler, that is locking up properties just with the intention of dropping them, because then you set yourself up to fail. Or a wholesaler or investor that locks them up, renegotiates, you know, not once, but twice, but 3 times, and then still doesn't get it closed out.
Because they don't have
Which
the
I think is
offers.
also like important from what Mike says, like having an offer you know you can perform on. So if you do retrade, like you still like you still like that's still a valuable service, is like a guaranteed closing, a guaranteed offer, and a quick closing. So it's valuable. But if you can't perform on it, then you're just gonna screw someone over, and that's never a good place to be.
I see so many newbies, they always are like, okay, they're getting interest, but then they retrade before there's any solid offer. And I'm like, why would you do that? Because then you get another offer and it's matching what you just retraded, and you have to retrade again.
And you look like an idiot.
And then the sellers are like, dude, I don't even want to deal with you. But honestly, if you would have came the first time and said, hey, I can guarantee get you closed out at 70K, it's probably going to be better than just being like, hey, I think we need to do 75 now. And now you just lost. You know what I'm saying? So like being really confident. If you're going to retrade, you need to be like, okay, we can close this.
Yeah, I also feel like it gets to a point of like doing it enough. Like my year one, like our contract to close rate was 45% because we were doing that, right? I said, oh, we have the best dispo process. We're going to beat any competition. No, if another company offered that, let's match it, and they're going to go with us because we're more professional, right? And then you do everything that you guys all just spoke about, and it's still, you just waste, it's like the deals, right? The deals that you make 5K on, 7K, those are the nightmare TC processes. You work the hardest for, right? But the 100K fees, the 70K fees, those things are just a walk in the park all the time. The hardest part is just watching it on your closing board for 30 days and just waiting for it. But I feel like you just have to be selective with your time, right? Time is money. I would rather, instead of me trying to make a deal work and go get price reductions and do all this stuff, I'd rather reinvest that time into going and find the deals that I'm going to go ahead and have an easy 50K and easy 30K fee and double down on those, and then trying to, make wine out of one grape or something.
Well, and if you stay firm too.
Dude, I didn't even make wine from one grape, bro. That was nice, bro.
That was good right there. Let's go.
To your point too, if you try to take down those leads, like enforce it, you now turned a lead that could be an opportunity that if you stayed firm on your number is a 25, 50, 75K spread, and now turned it into an opportunity where you tarnished your reputation, or maybe only 25K out of it.
And those people are going to come back to you if you do a good job.
Yeah.
You know?
And if you're marketing heavily, like especially when you're doing the more the inbound marketing and like I say like when I get a seller who's like clearly motivated but way too opportunistic on price, we're gonna only spend so much time to try to talk them down before I go ahead and push them out to the competition. Hey, Google sell my house fast, cash buyers near me. And everyone, you're gonna get a guy, my offer's at 200, you're gonna get a guy at 225, you're gonna get a guy at 210, you're gonna get a guy at 190. And if any of them are as professional as us or more credible than us, please let me know.
Really?
And if not, then like we've gotten people that have come back to us at a lower price because they were more comfortable to work with us. We don't have VAs answering the phone. We don't have people setting appointments. When a new lead comes in, it's my AM who's closed 50 deals is their first
point of contact.
right?
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're actually going to push them off to the competition first because you know that the industry is like unprofessional, probably a bunch of young guys.
I just don't think it's worth my act guy's time is to just
try to negotiate and have them up.
In like the Southeast, like a lot of these people are just so stubborn and reductions really don't work. Like the old Southern beau is just like, you signed a paper, you put a number on it. If it's $1 less, I don't give a shit. I'm not working with you.
Really?
So just being a man of your word definitely goes a long way.
So what do you guys think about those guys? Because I did not know there was a big thing until probably like 2 months ago. That I hear there's people, we talked about it briefly a little bit. I don't know if you seeing it inside of the coach community, you guys are seeing it with people when you guys try to close deals, or you guys are probably seeing it. Like how you saying earlier, let's say if you wanted 220, my offer is 200, I'm gonna lock it up at 220, knowing that I can't get it sold at 220, and I throw a memo on it. So when JT go and lock it up, he can't sell it unless he get paid out for his memo. Are you guys actually seeing that?
There was one guy in our group who said he was doing that, and then everyone on the call was like, dude, you're fucking unethical.
Yeah.
And like, were you guys on that call?
I don't think
No. So, but yeah, he's like said that, and everyone was like, yeah, you shouldn't definitely not do that. It's terrible practice.
Yeah.
I'll file a memo if the seller like clearly fails to perform.
If it's the seller's fault, it's one thing. But if you could not have closed that deal, if you could not have closed that deal without a retrade, then you have no business filing a
technically
memo.
can't put a memo. Like if I go ahead and I'm closing a deal and I find a memo and the seller explains the situation, it's like, what? Like they didn't perform. They just ghosted me. I never heard from them again. I'm going to that attorney and I'm saying, and I'm like making a case for them and saying the seller was trying to sell at that price. They wanted to sell at that price. It was actually the buyer who was in breach of contract.
And you can,
But it's not that easy. You got to go to court and shit.
Yeah.
if they're not notarized too, or like if they're not like actually professionally done, a lot of the times it's just kind of like a lot of counties will just kind of look past it. Especially if they call and they're like, hey, they didn't perform. It wasn't the seller's fault. But one thing, like if that happened to me, which I've had.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're the last person for deeds and shit.
And I was about to say these exact words.
Okay.
I'm finna crash out.
You got something to say on that?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say negotiating memos off. The way the memo works is like you have to, if you file a memo, you have to be willing to perform and buy the house at that price. And so if you're not if you're willing to do that, then by all means, you deserve the right to have that. But if someone memos your property, as long as you know that that's what they have to do, then just push them into performing and they're going to cave and you don't have to pay them anything.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Really?
Why pay someone for a memo that they file in the house when you know for a fact they're not going to close?
Yeah.
That's 99% of that is going to be the case.
Okay, I like that, guys. So kind of is going to be a quick, short one, but I did want to ask one more question. It probably going to take a little long on the answer. I guess this year, so far, we're in July? Yeah, so in July, what are some biggest deals that I had fell through that hurt the bank account? Some you was projected. Like, let's talk the bad part about real estate. Like, what have happened this year? JT, you want to start?
I'll start it off because this year started off so hot for me. It was like, wow, it was like one of those years. It's like, wow, it's finally all clicking. And then I bought this deal. It was like too good to be true. Like honestly, it was too good to be true. But it took me 6 months to close. So in October of last year, a wholesaler came to me and he was like, hey, JT, I heard you buy a lot of Section 8 rentals. Would you buy this property? And he was asking me like 140 for it. And I ended up negotiating it to 107, okay? 107, and I wasn't even gonna keep it. I was literally gonna list it right on the market on the MLS and sell it to another investor for 165.
I buy so over this next 6 months, we couldn't close on the property because title was not clear. So I was like, okay, that's fine. Like at the time the title clears, I'm still good for the money.
Yeah.
So 6 months go by, I get a call from them, hey, we finally got title cleared. I just need you to go find the VIN number. I said, okay. So I go and I'm trying to find the VIN number. I can't find it. I said, look, I looked everywhere on this house. I can't find the VIN number. They're like, okay, we'll get back to you. Next day, they said, no problem at all. We figured out how we can get fully marketable and insurable title. And I was like, okay, so we're good to close? They're like, yeah. I said, well, here's the thing though. I already had like 5,000 or 6,000 EMD in this. So I was like, here's the thing. I'm not going to close on this property if I'm not going to be able to sell it in the future. It has to be fully insurable, fully marketable, fully clear title. Don't worry, JT, you'll have no issue. It's fully marketable, fully clear, and they're willing to insure it. I said, that's fine with me. Sounds like a great deal. So I buy the property, we close on it, I list it the next day. I instantly, in 20 minutes, get a cash offer. 10K over ask, I'm gonna make $65,000 on this deal, instantly. I'm like, average! Like, this has been the easiest deal ever, like, you know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't really me doing the work to get the title clear, it was the TC and the title company. I'm like, this is really like, this is the easiest deal of all time. Man, it's a 10-day close too. So I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm caking.
Day 9, I'm in Denver. Dead serious, I'm in Denver.
Oh no.
I'm in Denver, I get a phone call. Hey, JT. I'm like, what's up, y'all? They're like,
Was this after the night?
well, that night, no, this is a couple.
Which day was
A
this?
little bit after. This was,
Oh, so you were recovering.
yes.
Okay.
Which day was this? This was when we were in the,
When
it was the first day. It was the first day.
Oh, this is the first day?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because I had to go outside and take this phone call. And I'm like, hey, y'all ready to close tomorrow? They're like, ooh. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, this isn't good title. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like this is like not valid at all.
Same title company that closed it?
No. So a new
You should
one.
have done it with the same one.
So I tried to do that,
They wouldn't do
but
it.
they didn't want to.
Oh, yeah, that's because.
Because they knew they didn't.
Because it's a little bit. I mean, it's a
Black hat.
it's a weird deal. It's in So I'm like, okay. So what do you mean? They're like, oh well, there's no VIN number on the detitlement. They basically surrendered it to the deed and detitled it without filing the necessary paperwork to the state. They filed it to the state, but the state didn't approve it, so they just wrote it on the deed. It's a crazy situation.
So how much you projected to lose on it?
About $110,000.
So go ahead.
But basically, I get a call. They're like, hey, there's no VIN. Can you go find the VIN? I find the VIN. I go to the state to like, hey, I say, hey, I found the VIN. They're like, oh, the previous owner didn't own any of these VIN numbers. I'm like, oh God. So anyway, long story short, that buyer backed out, obviously, because he can't close. That 60 deal turned into a 10K loss instantly, and then another $100 and something thousand loss here at the end of the year that I'm just gonna have to take the L on.
Dang. Welcome
But
to
you
real
live and you
estate.
learn.
Welcome to real estate.
Don't buy mobile homes.
All right, Nico.
On my end, there was a deal I should have double closed, and I decided to novate with a stingy seller. This was a little more than a year ago. This wasn't just this last year, but 99K just went poof. Cause,
Really?
Yeah, you gotta, I mean, look, this goes back to when to double close, novate, and, ultimately, how to exit. If you have a fat spread with a bunch of backup buyers and you even have a doubt, or even if you don't have a doubt on, a seller, pay the little bit extra for transactional if you're making 100K. You're like, the dude is dead now, and I didn't do it, but
My man got greedy.
But dude ended up, it was crazy. Yeah, he got greedy. He saw 99K on that novation.
you got greedy
We were sitting at, we were no.
Yes, you did.
He was like, yeah, he didn't get greedy. He was like, no, you got it.
It was so funny because when this had happened, we're sitting at Hibachi. I hand him the novation paperwork. I'm like, here you go.
In person?
Yeah, in person.
No way.
He looks at it. I'm like, you gonna sign it? He goes, I'm gonna review it. Shay looks at me. She goes, dude, you're cooked. I'm like, what do you mean? He's happy. We're gonna get it closed. And then he started acting crazy.
Oh, like acting out in public.
Not in public. After the fact. Yeah. He just did everything in his power to ultimately make sure that deal wasn't gonna close.
Yes.
And it was just me seeing the best in somebody that. It should have double closed it. So
1,000%.
Yeah, dude.
So every guy
Novation fee was like
on a double close.
$140K.
So that's the real behind the scenes of real estate. 199, never gonna talk to us. What was your biggest fuck up this year?
Knocking on wood. This year hasn't been anything too crazy. I had one where I lost 12 on, and it was me. It was an ovation. We had some concessions we had to take care of before closing, so I had to put. It was around like 12 grand into the property that I kind of just put in out of my pocket. That was supposed to be paid out to the contractor at closing. And I just, thought that I had enough rapport with the seller where, I didn't need to put a lien or put a memo or anything to protect the money I put into the property. He was a great dude. Was a great dude. Anyway, long story short, we're 2 days away from closing. I'm set to make like a 15K fee, nothing crazy, another base hit.
You was putting 12 in just to make 15.
It got to the point where it started with 4, then it turned to 8, then it turned to 12. And it was just anything to get this deal closed. The seller had already moved to Thailand, and it was like this whole big thing. So, long story short, the seller ended up terminating, did not get approved for financing just because she was broke. We put it back on the market. The seller was needing this money to buy his new house in Thailand. Whatever, we sat on the market for another 60 days, did price reduction after price reduction, and I just couldn't sell this damn house. Seller eventually got fed up, and he just ghosted me, and no way for me to get my money back.
Dang.
9 Pepper Mill, Savannah, Porter, Georgia. Go get it.
You didn't get a lien or anything on the property?
It was too late because I didn't do the work. The contractor couldn't. It was me assigning the work to the contractor. So the seller, it was no tie to the property essentially.
Wow.
If there was one text message where the seller had texted the contractor once, it would have made it. We could have put a lien against it. But at that point, my contract was essentially void because I was out of extension.
Damn, that's crazy. Well, yeah, you didn't even put a security deed on the property.
And I learned from it. That's for sure.
Actually talk about that. What would you do differently in that situation? I think a lot of people have that
I
question.
would just understand that it's their problem, not my problem, and I would evaluate my opportunity cost in the situation. Why would I spend 12 to make 15? Hell no. I'll go ahead and spend 12. I'm going to make 100. That math is math.
Spend it on marketing instead.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'd like to test one more thing on that because I also lost 70K on another deal, which
you're good at losing money, bro.
You should go to business for that. Hey, I lose you guys money. Yeah.
But I trusted the seller. I'm like, man, this is a great dude, and he's all cool with it. He's all on board. Then I get a call from his daughter, and I start getting absolutely ripped. She's ripping the dad. And obviously, you get family involved in it. He's like, man, I don't know what to do. My daughter's going to kill me.
Yeah.
And then here I am, just
and then the daughter thinks you're taking advantage of her.
Exactly.
It's not the case.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the daughter's smoking crack in an alley.
Yeah.
Who's taking advantage of who here?
I want your property so I can go sell it for some crack.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So as we're gonna get ready to get out of here, but I do want to wrap up with JC and Mike. What was you guys' worst story year to date?
Bro, honestly, this happened today. When we got out here, I thought, get off the plane, little red-eye flight, right? Get a 40K wire, close a deal. I thought it was gonna be great. We're gonna make some great content. Me, Chandler, Michael, whatever, right? But I get a call. Or I don't even get a call. I get an email that just says, hard money lender doesn't approve anything. Found no comps. And just decided that they're not gonna lend on the deal. And today was close of escrow, and that's when I found out. So currently swimming through the ocean of whatever is going to happen with this deal.
Yo. Really? Was that the deal you said you closed this morning? Yep. We were talking about it. I was like, yeah, we're closing a 40K banger, chilling. Yeah. We got that phone call like an hour after.
Bro, and this agent is crazy. He yelled at me for 2 hours on the phone because I wanted to switch the escrow company 20 minutes into the transaction because our act guy screwed up the name.
Really? Yeah. Dang, that's crazy. Yeah. Okay, Chandler, you talk to a lot of wholesalers all day, every day.
Yeah.
What's the craziest story you heard this year to date?
This year, craziest.
Other than that.
Those are definitely some crazy stories. I'd say that the craziest one for me specifically though was like 2 years ago. We bought a house and we were selling it. This was in the open door days. We were selling it open door. Everything was going to close, and then we were 3 days out from closing, and we get a picture from the open door rep. To keep in mind, it's a small deal. We were going to JV it with this guy. We were going to each make $7K. We were dumb and bought it, and we were going to make $15K on a wholesale. Stupid deal. Don't recommend it, but we did anyways because we were confident in the area. 3 days out from closing, we get a picture from like one of the open door reps who was going to walk the property. He goes, "Hey, the property's not the same as when we, from when we agreed on it." And we look at the picture, the house is completely burnt down. And we were like, holy shit, like what do we fucking do?
You have insurance?
Yeah. So normally what we did on insurance, and this is a very important lesson for anyone, is normally we would get like a State Farm like renter's insurance because it's cheaper, and we'd just make a fake lease every time and do it when we bought a flip or a wholesale. And then on this one, for some reason, before we bought it, I was like, dude, we should just get a vacant policy. I don't know why, I just have this weird feeling. So I was like, told my team, I was like, no, cancel that policy. We're not doing it. We're gonna get a vacant one. And we got a vacant policy. That was the first house we ever got a vacant policy for that we bought. And at the time, like, we were buying like 3 or 4 a month to wholesale. And that was the first one that ever burned down. And because of that, we got paid out for the property and didn't have to lose a bunch of money. The second note of that is get the policy for the amount that the property is worth, not for the amount you paid for the property, because we would have made like 70 grand. Instead, we made 5 grand after, or maybe like 10 or something like that after selling it and it burned down.
Oh, so get how much it's worth instead of how much you paid for it. I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we could have got paid out for a lot more.
Like the land is not included, just the actual house.
Yeah, the actual house, yeah. So.
I like that. I like that concept, guys, where there you go. You have it. We have the Level Up REI. Guys, I know you're probably thinking about wholesaling. If you are watching this podcast, you maybe got some worse stories than this. If you got them, drop them in the comment section. And if you're thinking about wholesaling, make sure you see it from this perspective as well. It's fun. You get to hang out with guys like this all the time. You see, they just lost 40K today, and we just laughed at them. And they're like, fuck. We just laughed at him, and then he lost 199, right? It's like all of these guys losing money, but it's kind of cool to make money together as well. So I would say pick your poison. I just wanted to at least do a inverted side of what wholesaling really looked like. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching. Before we go, guys, tell them how they can find you guys on Instagram or YouTube, or what you guys are doing.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. My handle is Jarek Cole, JerekCole.
You can find me on Instagram, Money Mike Anthony.
Chandler Sane on Instagram or YouTube.
Courtney Scott,
Devin,
official.
Devin Carroll with an A, 2 R's, double L.
Nico Sharma and my boy JT Shitstein right here.
All right, we gotta get out of here.
I'm getting cooked, okay? JT Sutter, JTSUDERT.
Bro, let's go.
Guys, so with that being the case, guys,
We out
I'm
there.
gonna drop their stuff inside of the link in the bio or whatever. Link in the
I'm bigger than Courtney.